Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Kuwait on 21st and 22nd of December. This will be the first visit of an Indian Prime Minister to Kuwait in 43 years. US delegation meets in Damascus with Syria's new ruling coalition. Pentagon says the number of American troops have doubled in Syria. And US President-elect Donald Trump threatens the EU with tariffs if the bloc does not cut its growing deficit with Washington. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will undertake a two-day visit to Kuwait tomorrow at the invitation of the Emir of Kuwait, Sheikh Mashal Al-Ahmad Al-Jaber Al-Sabah. During the visit, the Prime Minister will hold discussions with the leadership of Kuwait. This will be the first visit of an Indian Prime Minister to Kuwait in 43 years. The visit is set to cement the historic ties between the two countries and strengthen the cultural, trade and people-to-people connect between India and Kuwait. In a special press briefing, External Affairs Ministry said that the visit of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the Gulf Spik labour camp shows that the Government of India attaches considerable importance to the welfare of all its workers working in a foreign country.
The Government of India attaches considerable importance to the welfare of all the workers which are abroad. As I just mentioned, we have a community of around 1 million. As Secretary CPV and OIA, this is one of our priority areas that we have. So the idea of the visit of the Honorable Prime Minister to Labour Camp is to express that the amount of importance that the Government of India attaches to our workers who are there in a foreign country.
Addressing the media, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Randir Jaiswal said that India has registered a strong protest on now deleted post of Bangladeshi leader Mahfouz Alam with the Bangladesh side and reiterated that all concerned should be mindful of their public comments.
The statement that you referred to made by a Bangladeshi senior leader, we have taken this up with the Bangladeshi government. We have actually strongly registered a protest on this issue. We understand that the post that you referred has been taken down. We would like to remind all concerned to be mindful of their public comments. While India has repeatedly signaled interest in fostering relations with the people and the interim government of Bangladesh, such comments underline the need for responsibility in public articulation. And once again to repeat that we have strongly protested against this with the Bangladesh government.
The winter session of India's parliament saw the lower house Lok Sabha and the upper house Rajya Sabha register over 54% and 40% productivity. The final day of the session saw the One Nation, One Election Bill adopt a resolution to send the One Nation, One Election Bill to the JPC. Both houses were adjourned sine die. DD India's Anil Thomas reports.
The final day of the Parliament's winter session was marked by intense protest as India Bloc members marched from Vijay Chowk to Parliament demanding an apology from the Union Home Minister for his comments about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. The winter session of Parliament saw 20 days of work in the Lok Sabha and 19 sessions in the Rajya Sabha. Many bills were passed in both houses of Parliament.
5 bills Lok Sabha में इंट्रोड्यूस हुए हैं, 4 बिल्स लोकसभा ने पास किए, 3 बिल्स राज्यसभा से पास हुई.
Both houses of Parliament adopted a resolution recommending the 2 bills of holding simultaneous polls to a joint committee of the 2 houses. The Joint Parliamentary Committee has 39 members with 27 from Lok Sabha and 12 from Rajya Sabha.
Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted.
The Lok Sabha Speaker warned members of action if any of them resorted to demonstrations and protests within the premises of Parliament. The Speaker's directions came after a large-scale protest by both opposition and Treasury benches on the penultimate day of the winter session.
माननीय सदस्यगण, मैं आप सभी से पुनः आग्रह करता हूं कि संसद की गरिमा मर्यादा बनाए सबकी सामूहिक जिम्मेदारी है। संसद भवन परिसर में किसी भी द्वार पर किसी भी तरह का धरना प्रदर्शन करना उचित नहीं है।
Opposition parties expressed deep disappointment over the disruptions during the winter session of Parliament. They hope that the budget session would be more productive.
Most of this time has been wasted in disruption. For many of us, the only constructive work was done in the parliamentary committees. But the main parliament did not fulfill its duty to the nation. And I think we've let the people of India down. I think it's very unfortunate. And I really hope that the government reaches out to the opposition and finds a solution so that in an objective way, we can all get on with the work of the House. The budget session is coming now, and we should not see a repetition of all this in February.
Meanwhile, the Delhi Police Special Crime Unit is likely to take over the investigation into the FIR lodged against Rahul Gandhi in connection with the scuffle on Parliament crisis. 4 weeks of winter session of Parliament have been high-voltage face-offs between the Treasury and the opposition benches. This session can best be described as two sides of the same coin. One which saw deliberations, discussions, bills being passed, JPC being formed on the One Nation, One Election, and also discussions in both houses on the 75 glorious years of the Constitution drafting. On the other side, we did have FIRs also being registered in this session. All in all, it's left with a mixed kind of feeling when one takes a look at the winter session. With camera person Vinay Tiwari, Anil Thomas, DD India, New Delhi.
India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal addressed the grand finale of the NICDC Logistics Data Services Unified Logistics Interface Platform Hackathon 2.0 in the national capital. It is a competitive event aimed at fostering innovation and developing digital solutions to tackle pressing challenges in the logistics industry. Hackathon 2.0 marks a significant step in leveraging innovation and technology to reshape and streamline India's logistics and supply chain sector. Speaking at the grand finale, the minister highlighted 5 call to actions, including expansion of digital interface, promotion and adoption of sustainable alternatives in the logistics sector, among other things.
Let's expand the digital integration of our stakeholders and bring more and more stakeholders onto the digital platforms that we are creating to, and very obviously, sustainability. We'll all have to seriously address the concerns around green logistics becoming a part of our day-to-day usage. One of the biggest challenges that all of us face is matching skills to the job requirement. We will have to seriously look at skill development, even in the logistics sector. And finally, can we have similar hackathons with other newer problem statements? Can we make this the order of the day?
The 2-day plenary session of the 72nd Northeastern Council began in northeastern state of Tripura. Union Home Minister Amit Shah and Development of Northeastern Region Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia are in Agartala, where a pre-plenary session was held, while the main session chaired by Home Minister will start on Saturday. On to update from Syria, US top diplomats held a meeting with Syria's new rulers led by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham in Damascus for their first official meeting. Discussions focused on inclusivity, minority rights, locating missing Americans, including journalist Austin Tice. HTS leader Ahmad al-Shara has called for lifting Western sanctions, framing it as vital for Syria's transition. However, HTS remains designated as a terrorist group by the United States. In a surprise announcement, the U.S. Defense Department said that the number of American troops have doubled in Syria, an increase that predates the fall of Bashar al-Assad's regime this month. The Pentagon spokesperson said that the United States currently has approximately 2,000 troops in Syria, more than the double more than double the previously disclosed number of 900. He added that the additional troops are considered temporary forces that had been sent to counter Islamic State terrorist missions there. US Deputy National Security Advisor John Feiner has raised the alarm on Pakistan's burgeoning long-range ballistic missile capabilities. Feiner said that the nuclear-armed Pakistan's ballistic missile capabilities eventually could allow it to strike targets well beyond South Asia, making it an emerging threat to the United States. Speaking a day after Washington announced a new round of sanctions related to Pakistan's ballistic missile development program, including for the first time against the state-run defense agency that oversees the program. And next we take a look at other stories making news around the world. People in storm-ravaged Mayotte implored French President Emmanuel Macron on Thursday. Angry residents complained that potable water had not reached them nearly a week after the storm hit the Indian Ocean archipelago. Macron has declared December 23rd as the National Day of Mourning for Mayotte victims. A 7-year-old was killed and several others injured in a stabbing attack at a school in the Croatian capital Zagreb on Friday, with a 19-year-old man arrested as a suspect. Croatian minister says that the suspect in school stabbing was a former student. Students at the Looms High School in Germany received an unusual visitor this week, an AI-operated humanoid robot named Capture, who led the students through a day of lectures and debate. The robotic teacher, developed by Hidoba Research, and the students discussed AI and its influence on different aspects of society. You're watching DD India Live, still to come on this show. US Congress scrambles to try to avert looming shutdown after Trump-backed spending deal fails in the House. And Europe's biggest car maker, Volkswagen, is stuck in wage negotiations. We'll tell you why.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Tanvi Taneja. The Kremlin said on Friday that any new G7 sanctions on Russia's oil industry would backfire and that it would act to minimize the consequences of any such move and adapt. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov made the comment after being asked on a conference call about a report by Bloomberg News saying that the G7 was weighing new oil sanctions.
Of course. We are aware of the discussions that are being held on this matter. Every time such actions lead to our counteraction, that is, we will of course do everything necessary to minimize the consequences of such decisions and ensure our economic interest and the interests of our economic operators.
With a strong pitch, US President-elect Donald Trump on Friday has threatened the bloc with the tariffs if the bloc does not reduce its tremendous trade gap with Washington through oil and gas purchases. According to US figures, goods trade deficit with the EU stood at $202.5 billion that year. Reacting on this, the European Commission said that it was ready to discuss the issue with the President-elect, adding that EU is committed to phasing out energy imports from Russia and diversifying their sources of supply.
We are ready to discuss with President-elect Trump how we can further strengthen an already strong relationship including by discussing our common interests in the energy sector. And as you all know very well, the EU is committed to phasing out energy imports from Russia and diversifying our sources of supply.
The US House of Representatives on Thursday overwhelmingly rejected a Republican-led funding bill aimed at averting a government shutdown, with federal agencies due to run out of cash on Friday night and begin closing down at the weekend. A report.
Government shutdown looms in the United States after the House of Representatives failed to pass a revised short-term spending bill endorsed by President-elect Donald Trump. The bill needed a two-thirds majority in the House to sail through, but lawmakers rejected it with 174 in support and 235 against. The rejection comes just a day before the federal government is set to run out of cash. If lawmakers fail to extend that deadline, US government will begin a partial shutdown that would interrupt funding for everything from border enforcement to national perks and cut off paychecks for more than 2 million federal workers. The bill, which resembled a previous version that Trump and Musk had criticized, included provisions to fund the government until March, when Trump will officially take office and Republicans will control both chambers of Congress. Earlier, Trump urged Republicans and Democrats in the Congress to vote for a newly unveiled stopgap funding bill to avoid partial government shutdown. In a post on social media, Donald Trump expressed enthusiasm for the agreement, stating success in Washington. But dozens of debt hawks in Republican ranks, unhappy about allowing the national debt to rise unchecked for half of Trump's term, rebelled against their own leadership to sink the package. Speaker of the House, Representative Mike Johnson, has been facing criticism from all sides for his handling of the negotiations, and his Speaker's gavel looks likely to be under threat when he stands for re-election in January. However, Johnson expressed hope that the bill will be passed on Friday night so that it can be sent to the Senate, although the party leadership offered no clear path forward, telling the reporters they would have to meet to discuss a Plan C.
I hope that this vote passes tonight. We will send it to the Senate. We will extend funding, and we'll come back, and we will have the America First agenda come in roaring in January for the American people. Thank you so much.
Funding the government is always fraught, and lawmakers are under pressure this time around because they failed to agree on full-year budgets for 2025 despite months of negotiations. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now, since Monday this week, Europe's biggest car maker has been stuck in wage negotiations with a major trade union in Germany over its cost-cutting plans. Joining me with more is DW correspondent Chiponda Chimbelu in Berlin. Chiponda, what's the latest on the Volkswagen's labour negotiations?
Thanks for having me. Well, this is the fifth round of talks, and negotiators from Volkswagen and the trade union IG Metall have spent more than 60 hours in talks this week alone. And on Thursday, there were media reports that the two parties could be closer to an agreement. But at the end of the day, both Volkswagen and the trade union said they hadn't reached one. Now, news agency Reuters has reported that they are negotiating job security and the future of factories here in Germany. And other reports yesterday said that it appears that factory closures in Germany could be prevented. So it does look like progress is being made. And now talks are coming down to the wire. And if an agreement isn't reached, workers may go on strike in January. And that would, of course, only add to VW's woes. Like other major European car makers, it has been struggling amid rising competition from Chinese auto players and dwindling car sales here in Europe.
And what can we expect from the industry next year?
2025 may be, well, of course, a bumpy year for European car makers. Most players are already trying to cut costs and reduce production capacity, so there may very well be more job cut announcements to come. And if that does happen, the industry's woes may increasingly become a political issue. Now, take Volkswagen, for instance. The German federal state of Lower Saxony is a major shareholder in the company, and that means it also has a say in its future. And state representatives have already said that they are not ready to support significant job cuts as part of cost-cutting measures. And in Italy, Stellantis and the Italian government had a row for months over how to deal with the auto giant's ongoing challenges there. Rome accused the company of neglecting Italian production sites and moving production abroad. And this week, Stellantis announced a plan to invest €2 billion in Italy. So Europe's auto industry's future is, of course, also a political issue.
Thank you, Chiponda Chimbelu, reporting from Berlin. India has witnessed unprecedented progress in youth empowerment since 2014, focusing on the key areas including sports. In an exclusive conversation with DD India's Abhishek Mahajan, Union Minister of State for Youth Affairs and Sports, Raksha Khadse, listed out the top achievements of India in the year 2024. She said that the youth drive would help the young generation share its vision to take the country forward.
MOS Youth Affairs and Sports, Ms. Raksha Nikhil Khadse is with us. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome to DD India. Appreciate you giving us your precious time. First of all, how do you want to assess the year 2024 for Indian sports?
हमारे लिए काफ़ी महत्वपूर्ण रहा है और आप देख सकते हो कि जैसे पेरिस ओलंपिक हुआ, पैरा ओलंपिक हुआ, चेस कंपटीशन, वर्ल्ड कप चेस कंपटीशन हुआ, सभी कंपटीशन में, सभी स्पोर्ट्स में हमारे इंडिया के युवाओं ने, एथलीट्स ने काफ़ी अच्छा परफॉर्म किया.
मैम, व्हाट ऑल हैज़ बीन डन फॉर यूथ के लिए क्या कुछ किया गया है पिछले कुछ सालों में और क्या कुछ आगे सरकार की प्लानिंग है?
पूरी दुनिया जानती है कि भारत देश में युवाओं की शक्ति बहुत बड़ी है, युवाओं की संख्या बहुत बड़ी है और इसके लिए आदरणीय मोदी जी भी ये चाहते हैं कि युवा हर सेक्टर में आगे आए. माय भारत पोर्टल के माध्यम से, इस पोर्टल के माध्यम से युवाओं को हम गवर्नमेंट के साथ जोड़ रहे. जितने भी हम गवर्नमेंट के प्रोग्राम ला रहे हैं तो उसमें युवाओं का पार्टिसिपेशन होना ज़रूरी है कि युवा भी समझे कि गवर्नमेंट किस तरह से काम कर रहा है.
Are you happy with how women have been performing in sports?
डेफिनेटली जिस तरह से भारत सरकार में पिछले 10 सालों में खास करके महिलाओं के लिए जो भी काम किए, फिर वो एक ग्रामीण क्षेत्र की महिला रहे या शहरी क्षेत्र की महिला रहे, सभी के लिए काम करने की कोशिश भारत सरकार ने की हुई है और ख़ास करके हम स्पोर्ट्स में भी देख सकते हैं. और अभी आने वाली स्पोर्ट्स पॉलिसी में हम प्रयास कर रहे हैं कि महिला कोचेस ज़्यादा आए, जिसके माध्यम से कि महिलाओं का पार्टिसिपेशन स्पोर्ट्स में ज़्यादा बढ़े.
How far have we reached to host the 2036 Olympics?
उसके लिए भी कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि हमारे देश का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर उस तरह से तैयार रहे, हमारे स्टेट का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर स्पोर्ट्स का उस तरह से तैयार हम करें और हमारे खास करके हमारे एथलीट्स उस लेवल पे हम तैयार करें कि आगे जाके जो भी हम जिस तरह से हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि 2036 में ओलंपिक्स हमारे इंडिया में होस्ट होना चाहिए, तो उसके लिए पूरी कोशिश भारत सरकार की जारी है और मुझे पूरा विश्वास है जिस कोशिश से हम चल रहे हैं तो डेफिनेटली वी ओन दिस.
On to cricket now. Bangladesh clinched an 80-run victory over the West Indies on Friday in the third T20, completing a historic 3-0 series sweep at Kingstown. Zakir Ali led the effort of Bangladesh with his career best knock, and bowlers also put their best forward and sealed their best performance in the format against West Indies, who won 2 editions of the ICC T20 World Cup. With this win, Bangladesh ended the long tour of the West Indies. They started the series with a draw in the 2-match test series and then lost the ODIs 3-0. But the Tigers came back strongly in the T20s. This is the second time Bangladesh has whitewashed an opponent abroad in a series of 3 or more matches. Australia have dropped Nathan McSweeney after 3 tests and included teenager Sam Constas into the squad for the 4th test against India starting on December 26th. Constas has been scoring runs for fun in the first-class cricket this season, including a century against an Indian team in the tour match. The 19-year-old also became the youngest player to score a half-century in the Big Bash League this week on his debut. Wicketkeeper batsman Josh Inglis and all-rounder Beau Webster also remain in the squad. Jay Richardson and Sean Abbott are in the squad as cover for Josh Hazlewood, but Scott Boland is expected to take the injured fast bowler's place in the playing 11. So that's it in this broadcast. But before we go, India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati has launched Waves platform, entering the field of OTT. Waves provides a complete infotainment ecosystem to digital media and OTT audiences. If you want great content for free, you can download Waves today. That's it in this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live, and you can also catch all the latest news and updates from India and the world on our DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.